question out of that perspective. So that's why I'm trying to get some young person on this list as well that can talk for the student bit. So it's Alex, yeah. So I think it's very important to know, to look at that as well. Yeah. And I will that list that, like you said, Martin, I have that survey. It's on my to-do list.
Now the point. Sorry, Bob. I know the results on various other countries. The point I was trying to get out of you, I suppose, was what percentage of the total sample expressed don't know.
Oh, they didn't have that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and there are a lot of people that I find, I haven't thought about that, but that doesn't mean they're against.
No.
And so your 32%, maybe 32% of 60% of people who felt they knew anything to be able to have an opinion. Or it may be 32% of 100%, I don't know. But unless you have a don't know as a response, then the results should not be treated as two. It doesn't mean that 68% are against. In other words.
Yeah, what they did do is they didn't have a don't know question, but they did have the possibility of not answering at all. So I think that's what needs to be, I would assume that the people who didn't answer at all just didn't know what to say. So, yeah. But I really do think that I don't know what the situation, again, I'm learning about the situation in Sweden while I'm here, but I would imagine that there's kind of similar frustration amongst young people that, after you've been through education, particularly university graduates, I don't know, certainly in the UK, the situation is terrible where lots of university graduates are basically not being able to use their education. Plus they don't have the kind of economic security that would make it possible to make a small business or something like that. Or to even just set up as some kind of consultant or get more education where they need it. I know there's an awful lot of frustration about that, and so there are a lot of people that are going on to further and further education just to kind of keep their brains ticking, but it's not going to lead anywhere in terms of jobs. So, yeah.
Okay. Anyone? Any other questions?
Well, if you would get 32% of the votes, would that make you Prime Minister?
Yes, because the Social Democrats only got 30% last
Yeah,
time.
well,
Yeah.
You only need 32%.
Yes, probably. Yeah.
I think the last point I'd like to make, Lena, is that it's very important in this debate to have some short statements about addressing the key objections. In my book I got this chapter on the 17 objections. The number one is, of course, affordability. And as soon as you explain that to an audience, and I'm sure Barb's had the same experience, if you can convincingly say to an audience, it can be afforded because X, Y, and Z. Oh, in that case, yeah, then people tend to be much more positive. I've often been confronted, I didn't think it was affordable, that's why I've been, not supporting. But yeah, if we can afford it that way, obviously. So you want to have checklists, statements on your webpage, on your statements, your leaflets that you can hand out, that, if we could show it's affordable, would you then support it? If we could show that it wouldn't stop people working, would you then support it? If we could show that it doesn't cause inflation, would you then support it? That it sort of preempt the standard things. And I think your function is going to be to clarify all those issues as you go through.
All right, 175 days, yeah. We'll do it, yeah. No, but it is very true, yeah, and the figures is very important. And we do have different models to show that it is actually affordable. That depends on which model you want to choose and how you can refine it. But it is very important, because that is the biggest hurdle. And will people stop work? That is also two hurdles, I think.
It's always other people stopping work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to stop working.
Can you tell us a bit more about this weekend?
Yes, so the weekend, yeah. So tonight, guy will be at Världskulturmuseet. And that's nothing to do with the party. That's Folkuniversitetet and Världskulturmuseet. And a woman called Ann Ige, she's a historian. ID, you call it an ID historian?
Historian of ideas?
Yeah. So she and you know her as well.
Yeah.
So she's going to lead this. You're going to have this conversation there, and then tomorrow we have a full day at Kåken, the culture house, where most of you are coming, and it starts in the morning with Hilde. And it's going to talk about blockchain. And when she talked about it last night, I was totally sold. It was a whole new world that opened up that I didn't really understand. It was very, very interesting. And a way of financing a basic income that I had never thought about. And also a guy called Magnus Jansson. I think Magnus Andersson. He's the leader for the Pirate Party in Sweden. And he's going to talk about basic income in relation to automatization. Then we have a block with basic income and environment. What will happen with the environment if we had a basic income? So Carl Schlüter, that's a MP for the Green Party, is in that slot. And what's his name? A guy from Portugal, Pinto. Jorge Pinto. Yeah, he's a PhD student in degrowth or human ecology and that. And then we're going to have lunch. And then we have lunch at a kitchen out in a suburb here with women from all different cultures that cooking food. Bergsjön Kvinnocenter. So they're providing lunch for us. And then in the afternoon we have a session about basic income and feminism, which is also one of those questions we often get. So Martin will be there, and Martin is for the FI, the feminist party in Sweden. So he's their economical spokesperson. Yeah. So he's going to talk about feminism from basic income, not from FI. So it's no party politics. It's more from him as a person. And Bob's going to talk about women's issue and welfare, and Hannah as well. So and then the last session is going to be: we want to do a new ECI, European Citizen Initiative, to collect signature to get EU to bring up the question, and that's going to be a big session because it's with different people from different countries that have different ideas. How should we do child benefits? Should we have dividend? Should we do basic income? Or it's a lot of ideas. So we're going to have a discussion about that tomorrow afternoon and make a decision on Sunday. So Sunday is a general assembly for UBIE where we're going to make a decision about that. We're going to elect a new board. I've been on the board for 3 years and stepping down now to do other things. So that's the whole weekend. And we're going to have a party as well.
Yeah, with circus.
Yeah, no, unfortunately.
No, they're not.
No. Ali?
Oh, what a pity. I see.
I understand that you're from Feminist Party.
Mm.
So is the system allowing parties to cooperate during the elections?
Yeah, yes, yeah, they
and
do. I mean, he's not there as a feminist. I just sort of said that he belongs there, but he's not there. But yes, you can actually cooperate with parties. I mean, we could decide to work together or other parties, and then you have different orders. You can have on the ballot papers, so you can be a few parties.
1 + 1
doing.
may make more than 2, maybe 3, 4.
Depends on as well, and if you have. Sometimes you have different opinions about really strong questions, so it's one of those things. It's a hard one. I don't know if I'm for it, but let's see. I don't think the feminists will do that. No. Okay.
Great.
All right.
Good.
Thank you everyone for coming. And good luck.